Welcome back to Anime Rambles. Today we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia, and we're going to be talking about our little boy Deku over here, and how he's not as virtuous as people might think in the beginning of the story. He becomes a more virtuous character as the story goes, but in the beginning he was never trying to become a hero. He may have told the narrator may have told the audience that Deku was trying to become a narrator, but the story is told from Deku's perspective. Most times we hear a narrator talk, it's always from Deku's perspective, and this leads to some flaws in the story. Deku always says, "Oh, I'm trying to become a hero. I'm trying to move in. I'm going to take the entrance exam." But before All Might gave Deku his powers, none of that meant anything. Like, what did Deku think he was going to do in the UA entrance exam? What? Beg? Fight? How? He can barely protect one crying child, let alone anyone else. The theory that I'm posing is that Deku was never trying to become a hero during any of the moments in the first before All Might recognized him. He was only looking for an opportunity for someone to tell him, "Yeah, you can't become a hero." He keeps these notebooks around, and on the notebooks it says hero analysis for the future. Um, I'm not sure if this is really how relevant this is, but the way you word something is very important. If you put future after, it shows, especially in Japanese where you switch it up, it shows that you're more important is the hero analysis than for the future. The future is an afterthought. He's trying to convince the world that he is um, trying to still become a hero, because he didn't have to write that on the book at all. He knows what it is. Why would he need to write anything but number 13 on it? He still likes heroes. He still has an obsession with heroes, but he's given up on the idea of becoming a hero. But he still wants to convince himself that he can try, even though he knows he can't. His actions are indicative of someone who knows they can't become a hero. There's no confidence when he raises his hand when everyone else is like, "Oh, we'll all become heroes." They honestly believe that from that childlike sense of wonder, like, "Oh, I can still do anything I want," until, crushing reality sets in. But Deku's sitting here knowing he already can't do it. So he's sitting there, head down, hand raised, like, "Oh, I'm still showing that I want to do it." But his body language is saying, "Yeah, who am I kidding?" Even when, like, this is the big catalyst moment when he heard that he doesn't have a talent. Sorry, doesn't have a quirk. And he goes into this sense of, like, despair, and he's still saying, like, "Oh, I can still do it," but his eyes are clearly saying, "I can't do it." All he wants is support from his mother, but I don't think that's what he wants at all. I think he wants his mother to shut him down entirely. That's why he did this. He might have thought he was doing it for another reason, and it might have turned into another reason for the future. But right here in this moment, he wanted his mom to shut him down and dash his dreams. Even when he asked All Might, I'm sure the answer he wanted was no, so he could just give up and live a different life. He probably still wanted to do something hero related, but becoming a hero was entirely out of the question. So, what's the biggest sense of reason that this little boy right here, this little munchkin, does not want to become a hero, and he's only reflecting it outwards to the world? Well, think about every other character in anime or media in general who don't have powers in a world filled with powers, who fight alongside these people or against them without these powers. What do they do? Well, let's look at a couple of examples. First, we have Asta, who is a character living in a world filled with magical beings with no magic whatsoever. So, what does he do? He trains his body. He can't use magic, so he trains physically. And he trains and trains and never gives up. When does Deku train even a little bit? You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you do not have the skills to act upon them, nothing will happen. Let's look at Rock Lee, someone who can't use ninjutsu, so he resorted to taijutsu, which is martial arts, and he decided to become as strong as he possibly could in this one field to compensate for what he lacked, till he got strong to this insane degree, just like Asta, because he couldn't compete in the current way that he was. We have Mashal, another character born in a land with magic without any. And in his world, they just kill anyone without magic. So he has to train double as hard. And he doesn't complain a single time. This is just his reality. Let's look at Chad from Bleach. This is a little bit non conventional, but Chad realized that his friends, Ichigo and Uryu, were a Quincy and a Shinigami, and they both had their own powers. So he developed a brand new set of powers in order to compete with the powers in his own world. He knew he was powerless, so he developed something brand new in order to go up against it. And then finally, we're going to be talking about Nana from Talentless Nana, who is an assassin who kills people in her world who basically have quirks. And she does this using cunning, deception, and sheer brutality. Now, each one of these characters rely on something that's inside of them that only they can do in order to push forward to match themselves in this world. Now tell me, what does my man Deku do? What does he do? Oh, and there's one more. Sokka from the last Avatar. The last Avatar: The Last Airbender. He knows he can't bend, so he uses a boomerang, and then later he uses a sword. He develops his physical skills, his weaponry, in order to compete with those in the world who can use bending, so he can still be an asset to the team. What does Deku do? Literally nothing. He does zilch through the entire thing until All Might finally says, "I will give you my power. You can be strong." That's the first moment where he believed himself that he could be a hero. First person to believe in Deku wasn't Deku, it was All Might. That act of bravery was the final nail in the coffin to prove he couldn't do anything, and it turned around on him, and All Might gave him an opportunity. So Deku isn't as virtuous as most people think. He showed no aptitude towards being a hero. He didn't push towards it at all himself. He only put on these meaningless displays of fake heroism in order to convince himself that he couldn't do it. Because he knew he couldn't do it, but he still had to put up that facade to a world so he believed in for his mom that his dream was still alive. Later, when that moment when All Might says, "You too can be a hero," that was when he had finally awakened for him. That, oh my god, maybe I can do it. Maybe this is a path that I can take. But only if you seek out someone who can help you, a mentor, someone stronger than you, who can push you in that direction. It's a very similar story to Kenichi in that way. Someone weak and powerless, pushed by a stronger force. But no, without any power, you can't do anything. So you have to find a way to seek out power. If you're willing to stay weak and live in your own delusional mind, you're not going to be able to push forward. However, if you put your faith in someone stronger than you to push you forward, then you can move forward. You can't remain weak. You have to work towards becoming strong. And it's a good lesson for us all. But Deku is not. Most people don't view him this way, and I feel like that's a mistake to his character. He's not the deepest character in anime by a long shot. He's not the best character, and clearly he's not the most motivated character. but he is interesting in his own right. And yeah, My Hero Academia, it's not a bad show. It's not great by any means. But yeah, I feel like this is something that most people don't think about and it needed to be said. So anyway, if you like this video, leave a like on it. If you disagreed with me, tell me why in the comments. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. And if you want to see more anime rambles like this, hit that good old subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.